Everybody, we are back. It is Safe to Launch Favorite Podcast, Favorite Channel, Favorite Everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course, pandasubs.com, discount code TDL for 25% off. All right. So today we're back doing some more draft breakdowns. Today we're doing Jahdae Barron and I'm gonna make sure I get this right. Shavon.
See, I
already messed it up. Shavon Revel. Revel.
In our defense here, I was watching a video before this where he said even like ECU's coaching staff called him Shavon Revel because that's obviously how it looks visually. He's like, yeah, I just never corrected anybody, and then I guess going into this year, it got relief that it was Shavon.
Shavon. His mom probably got mad about it. His mom probably hit
some probably.
I named you Shavon, not Shavon. All right. So we're doing all cornerbacks today. Doing all defense. I really was running out of offensive players. It was funny. I was going to the Fries. And one of my my old family friends from a long time ago, he's a Raiders fan too, and he told me that he watches the show, and he says like, but I do tune out when you guys talk about guards and stuff like that. And I thought that was
man, no love for the O-line, no love.
So yeah, because that was my next step in this offensive outlook here was deep diving into more and more guards, but we'll save that for after the draft.
Yeah.
But here we're doing cornerbacks today, so we're going to be looking at, like I said, Jahdae Barron and Shavon Revel. So,
are we sure it's Jahdae? That's the other. I know we were talking about.
I know. That's what I was looking at. Are we sure about that? I mean, some guy said Jahdae, so I was like, whoa, wait a second. So, all right, so yeah. We'll figure this out. Man. Just like it was. I was saying Will Levis for the longest. It was Will Levis. You know what I mean? It was just.
This can be a last names pod because that's the only ones that we're confident in how to say it. Revel and Barron. I don't think we can mix those.
Yeah, Revel and Barron. All right. Anything else happening in Raiders land? Oh, Jakobi Meyers might get a contract extension.
Yeah. So
some people are. I don't know. It's weird. If Jakobi Meyers is weird, just reputation, like even from like the media, because the way they talk about the Raiders wide receiver room, they just act like it's just full of garbage. Besides Brock Bowers and Jakobi Meyers, I think is a good player. He might not be a great player, but I think he's good every year. It's not like it's something that I'm not worried about Jakobi Myers. Basically, it's something I'm never worried about. Is him going out there and getting close to 1,000 yards, right? I mean, even if he's the second guy, if he's the number one guy, he's gonna go out there. He's gonna make plays for you. So, I see nothing wrong with extending him, but I think some people, they just want a better, more dominant number one receiver. So,
yeah. And I think that's the problem is people are assuming they see the words extension. They're assuming he's going to get like the Jamar Chase, the Justin Jefferson, level, extension, the $25-30 million a year, which those guys, I think got even more than that. So I think that's where people immediately assume when we hear he might be getting extended. But as far as being a number two and whatever, and being a good compliment to Brock Bowers, Myers proved me wrong last year with that, how he played after they traded Devontae. So he's a guy too. I agree. If you don't extend Jakobi Meyers, wide receiver is going to be one of your biggest needs at this time next year. You know what I mean? We're going to be diving into the wide receiver class. So I think it's one of those things where keep a good player. If you can keep him on a reasonable contract, and extend him, then why not go ahead and do it? Because like you said, all he's done is come to Las Vegas and produce over the last 2 years. So he's got probably I know he's got double digit, but probably close to 15 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. And obviously last year broke 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. And so you pointed out on Twitter with some pretty ugly quarterback play. Especially if he comes out early in the season and has a good connection with Geno, I think that makes it even easier if the deal doesn't get done before then. So, but I think he's a guy that you want to keep around. He's not a guy that you want leaving.
Yeah, he's a great guy for Geno too, because Myers catches everything, right? And he and there's a lot of times last year where he ran a good route and it was an awful throw. So it was those type of things. I remember the Chiefs game. There was a throw that Aiden O'Connell made that was just awful, like over the middle. It was like way behind him. I don't know if you remember that throw, but like let's just say he hits that throw, right? Meyers is still running, and we're talking about more than 1,027 yards. And I think that is what's missing from that discussion they're having about him, is that like I mean, he was playing with, Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew and Jimmy Garoppolo the last 3 years, and he was producing. So if you get a good quarterback in here, I think Meyers might be something that might be very effective for the Raiders. And I think that's why they haven't been chasing wide receivers in free agency. And, they've been, they didn't bring any wide receivers really in for a visit either in the top 30 visits. So the wide receiver, they met with them at the combine, but it's not really a priority to them because of they got Brock Bowers, they got Jakobi Meyers, and of course John Spytek. Me and him are on Trey Tucker. Me and him are together on that. So you know what I mean? So I really do like Jakobi Meyers a lot. And I'm the same way with you, Matt. Like I didn't think Jakobi Meyers was like a player who's going to go out there and get 100 yards for you like consistently over multiple games, right? And he was able to do that last year. So he surprised me too. So, I wasn't the biggest Jakobi Meyers fan either, but now I am, just because I thought he performed really well, even just playing more outside too, which I thought was impressive.
Yeah, he's a guy that I'd like to see, like you're talking about with like the bad quarterback play. Like I'd be interested to see like that like advanced stat of like the unrealized yards, whatever, you know what I mean? Like that some people put out. I'd like to see where he'd fall in that, because like you said, I think he could probably be closer, like probably something closer to like 1,200, right? If he had more on targets, with more on target throws for when he was wide open. But I mean, the other thing about him too is like he does the dirty work too. Like he's willing to like get involved and do in run block and all that stuff, which I know isn't like super valuable, but it is pretty rare for a guy that's one of the best wide receiver on the team, the second best pass catcher on the team, to be willing to do that. And I think that give him a little bit of credibility too, especially with Chip coming in and wanting demanding a lot from the wide receivers as far as blocking. At least he has in the past. So
yeah. I agree with that. Dude. All right, so let's get to the film here, man. We're looking at these corners. We're looking at Revel and Barron. I like Revel. I've watched him. I do like him a lot, especially for his zone. What are your thoughts on Revel?
Yeah, so same thing. Like I think he's got really good traits. He's a tough eval with the torn ACL being in like September of last year. So obviously we didn't get to see him quite develop. And I think with him, like when you watch his 2023 tape, we'll watch his game against Michigan. There's like a lot of like the physical traits where you're like, man, that's like really impressive. And like, that's where you kind of get where he got the first round buzz heading into this season.
Yeah.
But his technique is still pretty raw or pretty tough. So he's pretty raw player overall. And again, with the knee, throwing the knee injury, and I think that's why he's looking at being a second round guy this year. But I think he can do both. I think he can play zone. I think he can play man. He's pretty good in press. He's got the long arms that Pete Carroll likes and can clearly run. Obviously, didn't have the 40 time on him, but I mean, we'll see on his tape. Like I don't think I ever saw him really get beat. If anything, it was a step of him playing in a trail technique or something like that, and that's because he's playing in press. So I think he fits what Pete Carroll likes at cornerback. He's another guy that's in that contention for that 37 spot if he's still on the board. But just a lot, like, and I'll point it out too, even on some of like his good plays, like definitely needs to clean up a little bit of the technique, some of the O's, the I's in zone. Like one of the plays that he made against Michigan where he ends up getting a PBU, he kind of got away with it a little bit, like being a little too shallow in his area. But again, he has the movement skills and the athleticism to be able to like kind of just recover. And I think that might have done him a little bit of disservice because he didn't have to refine his technique in college, but definitely dude who's got a ton of potential and could be a pretty damn good pro at the if he can get his technique down and get in with a good coaching staff.
Yeah, because I mean he is still expected to go pretty high in my opinion. I mean not first round, of course, but I definitely see him kind of, being an option at 37. I mean, if the Raiders don't trade back and get more picks, then he's definitely going to be a guy that's going to have to be there at 37. Because I don't believe he's going to be there at 68. No matter how we kind of look at it. I mean, even with the injury, just his stat line. I'm just looking at his stats right now. I mean, career is 43.8. Completion percentage against, I mean, the passer rating 60.6 in his career. I mean, both two years in a row under 65 passer rating. had 9 pass breakups in 2023. Yeah, he'll be fine. I mean, they're going to go off the 23 tape, and they're going to kind of judge him off that. And I think he is definitely a guy that the Raiders should look at, and who is going to be an option because he fits what they like to do, which is the long corners.
Yeah. And I pulled up the size numbers here on Mock Draftable. Height 6'1" and 7/8, 85th percentile. Weight is 194, so he's skinny. He's a little, like, and you'll see that, but he actually holds up physically all right and stuff like that in the run game. Wingspan 79 3/4, 94th percentile. Arm length 32 and 5/8, 86th percentile, and then hand size 9 and 5/8, 79th percentile. So physically, he's got everything you want, and especially that what Pete Carroll likes out there at corner. So impressive dude for sure.
Yeah. So looking at Jahdae Barron, who to me, it's not even calling him a cornerback in my opinion. I feel like he's just a great defensive player, right? I feel like that's what he is. He's just a great defensive player because he plays all over the field. I mean, there's a lot of times he's lined up at middle linebacker. He lines up at edge. Sometimes he, playing with like edge rules and disciplines, right? And he's also playing corner. And I think he had a breakout season because I started on his 23, looking at his PFF stats. It wasn't very good. But like when you go off of 2024, like he didn't have a game that's over 45 yards given up in coverage. He had a 54% completion percentage, passer rating 34.2. So teams basically had to throw the ball on the ground against him, right? I mean, it's kind of the same thing. And like, you just don't see him get beat on film this year, which, I don't know if you saw that, Matt, but I didn't see him really get beat. But it's more, what I would say to that, though, is it is a lot of zone, right? I mean, you really rarely saw him in like pure man-to-man press coverage at Texas. So that would be the question of where you would play him. Can he do that? Especially with the shorter arms, do you feel comfortable with him playing press? He kind of fits as more of a slot receiver just because of the shorter arms, and it really wouldn't play too much outside. But I think when you're kind of the same way I look at Will Johnson, if you're on first and second down, you can play him outside and maybe not getting those press coverage looks all the time. And he could play a little off coverage because he's great at that, right? I mean, that's what he's awesome at off coverage. And, he'll come up and play the run, and then you can move him around a little bit, put him all over the place. And, one thing what I thought about of why I think he's an option at 6 for the Raiders is what Patrick Graham was able to do with Jabril Peppers, right? And I kind of could see that with Jahdae Barron. I think he's that type of player where you can move him all around the field, right? You can play him outside, you can play corner, you can put him on tight ends. There's so much you can do with him that if you have if you're a smart mind like Patrick Graham, who got the best out of Jabril Peppers out of anybody, right? I think he might have made the Pro Bowl that year or something. I don't know, but he balled out with Patrick Graham. And one of the reasons is because Patrick Graham found ways to use him because you could blitz him off the edge. Like there's a play his issue. He blitzes as a middle linebacker. Like he's everywhere. So it's hard to kind of just put him as a corner, but that's why I really like him because he's a great defensive player. It's not really just him playing cornerback. I mean, that's just something that he could do well too, but it's just everything. It's everything with him. Yeah. And why I really like him as a prospect.
Yeah, I mean, I like Johnny's tape too. I don't think I saw him, like you said, I don't think I saw him get beat deep or get beat much at all. And obviously made a ton of plays this past year, and like 5 picks and like 9 PBUs, something crazy like that. So some crazy ball production. My question for him is like, I know like you're talking about like, using him all over the field, is like, does he have a natural position in the NFL? Like, is he more of a slot corner because of those short arms? And then on top of it, like, I don't know if I trust him in man because they ran so much zone at Texas. Like that was the one thing where I'm like, okay, yeah, he's not getting beat, but he's also like not really getting challenged that much because they used him the way they used him. Yeah. But as far as like his fit and what you were talking about too, like with him playing, on the outside, first and second down, and then when you go into nickel and go into these or dime and these passing situations, and then moving him inside, that's basically what Texas did this past season. Yeah, a lot of third downs, they put him in that nickel spot, move him inside. So he got the experience, and then I believe in 2023 he was like almost exclusively a nickel, and I think the year before that too. So I think if you're looking at a guy that like is less of a projection, like Will Johnson is projection into nickel, Jahdae Barron, you know he can play it. He can at least get someone who can play the nickel spot because he's done it at the college level. Whereas again, Will Johnson's someone who's we're projecting more to be able to be a fit in there. Whereas Jahdae obviously has the experience at it and done pretty damn good at it. So yeah, I'm interested to see what clips you had to break down. So
yeah, because looking at 2023 when he did play primarily in the slot. I mean, he was getting cooked by some corners here. Like, I mean, he played against Washington. He had 11 targets, gave up 9 catches, 104 yards. So he's getting cooked, right? So that's what I will be worried about is like, where do you put him? That's right, because like when you have those shorter arms and you can't play as much press coverage as you would like. But I just think he's such a good football player. You just got to find a way. Yeah, and that's why I think Jabril Peppers is kind of the mindset you should think of him, where he's kind of like a box safety slot corner type of thing, where he could help play against the run and things like that, because he's physical, like he's not scared in the middle of the field. I think that's where you could think of creative ways to make him have an impact on the field, because he's always in the right spot. He's gonna get some picks for you if he's in the right spot. So it's that's why I like him. It's all the things he can do. You just got to be creative with it, right? And I feel like it's kind of like it's like a DB Jalen Walker.
Okay, I like that comp. A DB Jalen Walker.
Nice. It kind of is, man. Like,
the way you're talking about it, you kind of like you almost see him like similar to like what Brian Branch does in Detroit a little bit.
A good one, Brian Branch.
Yeah,
right. That's a great one. And I was talking about the guy on TikTok. That was what he said too, and I thought that was super interesting. Some old scout dude, which I was. Yeah, he was really good. I liked his breakdown.
Nice.
But that was his. He said that he's a Brian Branch type, and I was like, you know what? That's what it is. So that's what I really like about him.
Yeah. The old Swiss Army knife, the like type of player. So
yeah, exactly. Nice. All right, dude. Let's do Revel first. Let's check out some Revel.
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so I'm gonna start off with a few reps of Revel here in press coverage, and we'll see a little bit of the flaws, but again, a little bit more of where his kind of like natural athleticism and hip fluidity can be an asset. Obviously, doesn't get targeted on this rep, but part of that's because he has great coverage on this. What I want you guys to watch is he's going to get a hard inside release from this receiver, but even that, like as soon as that receiver starts to stem inside, like you'll see how quick he is to open his hips. Like right now, he's already, we're one step into that, and he's already starting to let this like inside hip start to fly open. So we'll see that as a constant theme. But what is nice, what I do like, is like you'll see him get his outside hand involved, and obviously he gets turned around a little bit because of that hard inside release. Mm-hmm. But because he has the hand and he has the hips, he's able to just kind of stay in phase and keep himself in a good position to just smother this route. Like even though he was caught out of position, like you'll see a little hip flip right there and kind of stay in phase and be able to cover that guy. This one's going to be another similar one where, again, you'll see him open his hips a little bit, but he smothers this route so much, so I think the receiver stumbles at the top of it, and then obviously it's a very inaccurate pass, so nothing comes of it. But like you'll see like another good rep, like again, a little quick to open the gate, but stays on top of it, gets physical, and ends up benefiting from the inaccurate pass. Now this one too, like this is kind of what I was talking about in the intro, where like he might give up, a step or half a step when he's playing trail, but for the most part, like he's got the speed to be able to run with these dudes and stay on top or stay in phase on these deep routes. Does kind of fall off balance here, which is weird. I wasn't 100% sure why. Maybe they got their feet tangled, but again, in a perfect position to be able to make a play on the ball. Now this is another one too where same kind of thing where he's just going up against the go route. Now, what I would like to see, and this is where I'm talking about with his technique, he likes to do this little the double hand jam, which is kind of going away nowadays. Like most of the time, what you'll see, like, all right, if you want to jam with your outside hand, go same foot, same hand, and go for the press, and then kind of force the receiver inside, or the other way around, go inside foot, inside hand, and force him outside. But again, got the speed, got the hips. Stay in phase. He's smothered on this route. Like this, even if this is a perfect ball, like you can see, like right, here, he's in a great position to just rip hands at the catch point.
Yeah,
make a play on it.
Yeah, he's athletic.
Yeah,
He's
for sure.
athletic.
What I like about this one too is like we get a little stacked receivers here and get a switch release where his man changes post snap. You see him like show his hands. I mean, it's not a great jam to get a force a reroute, but then he just picks up his man and again gets physical with them. No separation. Very clearly, the quarterback's looking to throw that way, and I mean, he wants to hit. I'm assuming he wants to hit this little whip route because this one is white ass open. But he pulls it down anyway and checks it down. But again, that speaks to Revel and just his coverage ability to take away that whip, using his hands and getting physical at the line of scrimmage. Same kind of rep here too, just a little bit further down the field. But you see, kind of get the point where I'm going here. Like a little quick to turn those hips, but ends up being right on this one. Uses hands and stays in phase. I think that one, this one was what I liked about this one too is this receiver, I believe I looked it up, 6 foot, about 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So you can see him hold up against a bigger body and a little bit more physical of a matchup. Moving on to the ball skills. This is the play I was talking about in the intro where like right now, or I'll let this run for 1 second. We're like right here, like this is cover 3 from ECU, right? We're supposed to have a cover 3 shell where we're not getting beat deep. And like you can see, like this corner at the top of the screen is down at the 5-yard line, and he's, at the 10 and only 5 yards away from our underneath defender, which is why JJ McCarthy throws the corner, which should be open. But this is what I'm talking about. One, he is good at reading quarterback's eyes. I just like to see him also turn his head and locate this guy and then sink a little bit sooner. But he can read the quarterback's eyes. And then we have the athleticism to kind of make up for it and end up making a hell of a play to go get a PBU.
That's a great play.
Yeah. But again, it's just I wouldn't like in the NFL, we're not gonna be able to take this gamble. I know JJ McCarthy's a hell of a quarterback, but more experienced NFL passers are gonna drop that right on the end for a touchdown. But again, this is what I'm talking about where you can see the traits that are still there. Also, big hit by that safety. Poor tight end. But again, this time I'm going to play a little soft shoe press. Does take advantage of the college rules, gets hands more than 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. But again, that's what I'm talking about with the with him against deep routes. Just does a great job of staying on top of it. Saw him play press with a jam earlier. This time it's off shoe. And he reads the ball really well. We'll see a better example of it on the next clip. But what I like too is like when he knows when to turn and locate the ball in the air. Like you can see, like you watch like this receiver's head. Like shortly after the receiver looks for the ball, he gets his head around too, and ends up coming up with a PBU. He forces the receiver to play DB on this one. Damn, see, damn near gets a pick. This one I was talking about, he ends up getting the interception on this one. So again, does give up, maybe a half step here on of separation and press coverage against this go route. But what I like too is like you see him get physical, right? Use his hand right here to ride this guy out of bounds. And again, once he realizes, he's like, all right, now I'm back in phase. Now let's locate the ball. And with it being slightly underthrown, he's in a great position to go ahead and make that pick like it was intended for him.
He does open the gate a lot.
Yeah, very quickly. That's because he's going to have to get cleaned up. And again, guys like Devontae Adams at the NFL that have those crazy releases are going to give him trouble, I think, at first. But those long arms and that speed, man, he can make up for it.
Because that's really just what he's doing. Because I mean,
This one I like too because it kind of like again, he's playing cover 3 and leaves his assignment. But what I like is he ends up being a football player, not a robot, right? Like cover 3 usually, especially against a play action pass, just kind of keeps sinking and make sure nothing comes our way. But with Appalachian State running the flea flicker here, and they're trying to hit the tight end on the over route, like you can see number 5 here kind of have that oh shit moment, like right about there, where he's not going to be able to get to his spot. And obviously that tight end should be wide ass open on the drag route, which is why the quarterback throws it anyway. We're going to get Revel here. Just kind of leave his assignment. Be a football player, not a robot. Don't cover grass. Close on it, and then again, just undercut it, intercept it, and on top of it, takes it back to the house for 6. So what should have been a disastrous play for the defense ends up being a pick six because just one guy, just a little bit more aware, showing some football IQ.
Yeah, Pete Carroll had to go outside and cool himself off after watching this cover 3 rep. So
yeah, he was getting excited on this.
He's like, wow.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. A little bit of him in zone coverage again. Is why part of the reason why I think he can be a really good player in the next level because he can play man in zone. We saw a few reps in him in man, a few more of him here in zone. This is what I'm talking about where gets greedy, tries to go help out on this throw, on this other curl, and luckily gets away with it and is able to use his athleticism to kind of redirect and go back to his area and should have had a pick on this one, should have had another pick six. But, hey, that's why we play defense. And at the very least, got in the passing lane to break up the throw. Like, we'll see how close he was on this angle. I mean, like, literally, I don't know how he didn't pick that.
Yeah.
Either way. But again, it's what I'm talking about where, like, little raw technique still needs some work and stuff like that. Eyes in zone could use some extra work. But he definitely has the movement skills to be able to do it. Like this one, what I like too, like you'll see this little look back, finds the receiver, sees the curl route and cover 3, which is typically a good cover 3 beater, able to drive on it, use that little T-step, and then close it and set up third and medium, third and 4. Not exactly an easy play to make when you're playing a bail technique like that. Nice tackle. See those long arms get put to good use.
Why did that quarterback throw that purposeful duck? That was weird. Anyways, keep going.
It's Old Dominion, man. This quarterback, as we saw him miss a wide open read earlier, he's not great.
Okay.
This one just going to be a nice job just reading the quarterback's eyes. Again, another cover 3 look here. So Pete Carroll's salivating. Great close. I mean, just great close. Like read the quarterback's eyes, recognize the curl, go contest the catch point. Great play. See here from the end zone view. And then, of course, got to end with a few clips against as a run defender. I think he can contribute here, but he is going to have to add some extra size. Like, I mean, you just look at him like he's pretty thin.
Yeah.
So adding some size and strength will help him out here. But what I like about this one, going to blitz off the edge, does absorb a little bit too much of the contact, but at the very least comes flat down the line and stays on balance enough to be able to make the TFL here. Well, blitzing off the edge. And that's against Loveland too, who's one of the better tight ends in this draft class. Now, what I like about this rep here is like we're just going to see him kind of come up, and he obviously gets a little bit of help on the tackle attempt and just kind of fit on the goal line. But the score here is 30-0. And he's still going balls to the wall.
Yeah.
And giving effort against the run. Like I talked about this a little before. Like when I watch corners and when I watch them play against the run, the biggest thing I want to see is effort.
Yeah.
Like everything else I can take care of. And when you're giving me this in a 30-0 ball game in the season opener where you're not coming back and not going to win, I can work with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's, I think, just speaks to his character as well, too. The fact, again, still willing to give 110% when the game's well out of line. Another one where he's unblocked here. Little read option where, for some reason, I don't know why, because that's 0. I think that's a wide receiver for Old Dominion. They bump out the linebacker and take the linebacker out of the box.
Yeah.
Which is going to put Revel in a spot where he's got to come fit against the run, but he just plays it perfectly. Breaks down here too. Make sure he doesn't overrun it and bite too hard on the ball fake. Ends up making a nice tackle here on the quarterback, I think right at the line. Again, him just playing in the box a little bit and sticking his nose in there. We've seen a couple of goal line reps, so willing to do it, like I said. And I think you just got to add a little bit of size and strength to him, and he can be, your every down corner and help himself out, be a contributor for you on both phases of the game. So.
Yeah. I mean, definitely Pete Carroll type of guy. I mean, just watching how he played in cover 3, and just remember, when I was watching that film, because I remember watching that play, that interception that he made against Appalachian State. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's a dude who not going to cover grass and knows that nobody's on his side and cover 3. I'm just going to go follow it and make a play. That's what you want to see from a guy who plays in zone, because a lot of guys, they just keep dropping. You know what I mean? And
right.
Even in the NFL, I mean, you see guys like, Cameron Richardson was doing that last year at points where he's just dropping still. Like, bro, you don't have to drop anymore. Like, there's nobody there. And and it even got him a little stuck though when he was doing that, because when he kind of wasn't playing grass against that corner route, but he was able to recover. So, but kind of go both ways. But the tackling too is something that is Pete Carroll's really gonna like. So that's the type of guy, man. That's why I say at 37, he is a huge option to be there. That might be the pick there, because he's definitely a fit of what they like to do at corner, and he definitely a guy they're gonna look at.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, definitely a little bit more of a project. Like, pointed out a few of the technical flaws of him impressed, but he can do it. So I know I keep throwing out this comp because it is relevant with Pete Carroll, but he is a lot like Tyreek Woolen coming out of UTSA when he was super raw in especially in press coverage, coming out of college and whatnot, but had the ball production and had the speed and all the traits. So we've seen Pete Carroll take this type of guy before. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, it's going to be a Revel in the 2nd, and then Zaw Frazier in the 5th. That's just going to.
Yeah. Speaking of UTSA guys.
Yeah. So that's going to be the corners they drafted this year. So yeah, that was a great breakdown. That was good. That's good, man. All right. All right. So we're going to look at Jahdae Barron here, and we can start off with him playing the run, which he had a lot of great tackles against Cam Scatterbo. So I really wanted to show this game. So what really I like about this one is you see he was playing the slot here. You see right here at the beginning, he's in the slot, right? And he's able to just come right here, right in the box, get low, make a great tackle there. And you can see a lot of guys do this with Cam Scatterbo last year. A lot of guys are getting run over, but you see him able to come up and make that tackle, and just get physical. So that's why I really like the.
Yep.
What the hell did I do that on me? All right. So on this play right here, what I really like about this one is him understanding assignment. So you see the motion here, right? Little jet motion, and he understands he has to get this guy in the flat, because if it's a play action or something like that, that's his man on the flat, but ends up being a little toss. And I like how he's able to kind of play through that block by the tight end, spin around, because let's just say that this 13 is not number 0 here is not there. He's still able to spin around and make that tackle. So I really like how he was able to fight through that block right there. You can kind of see it from this angle a little bit better. See right here, kind of just spin around and be able to make that tackle.
What I like too, can you go back to the sideline view?
Yeah.
What I like too is when you first showed this, I was worried he's going to try and get underneath that tight end and then kind of gamble and make the play. But the fact he fits to the right side of it, fits to the outside, and forces the running back to cut inside tells me he knows how he fits in the run fit too, which is what I like.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to undercut it and be the hero and make the play, he's doing his assignment, and then on top of it, still getting involved in the tackle.
Yeah, knowing he has help inside too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So this one, I just love how he came up on this one. So you'll see here they're in quarters here. Texas is right with the 2 high. They're in quarters, and you get the little quick, little hitch route here inside from the slot receiver, and you get the little in route from the outside receiver, and he's able to kind of leave his spot here. See, because he keeps his eye on the quarterback, knows exactly what's going on. He understands his assignment, and he's able to come up and just make a big tackle there. Just flip the dude over, and just stare at him afterwards. Which I really like.
I feel like he talks a lot of shit. I feel like saw a lot of staring, flexing a little bit, staring him down after the play. I feel like I saw a lot of it.
You made the dude flip, man. There's a flip right there. Boom.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's what we call a rule tackle. That's a rule tackle, guys. All right, so this one I really like too. This next play here, because you see Barron up here at the top. He's able to come in here, and Cam Scatterbo does a good job. Arizona's O-line is really winning here, and he's able to kind of just find a different hole, but there's Barron right there waiting for him. He's able to make a great tackle, get low, tackle him right in his legs, bring him down.
Nice play.
Right, so that's why like, you really know he can come and play inside. Like,
yeah,
you would feel comfortable with him playing in the box because he's able to make these tackles.
Yeah. He's not hanging back and taking run plays off. He's getting fully involved in the run fit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, because if you watch it, right? I mean, he really, there's really no reason. A lot of corners would not do this. A lot of corners would not get it here, like, and try to make a tackle here. So you really like that from Barron. He's able to come in and make tackles like that, and he's willing to. He likes it. You know what I mean? That's why I really feel like he could play inside.
He's like the eat nails type of guy.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. All right. And then just moving him around. So I want to talk about his versatility here. So here he is. He's at middle linebacker here, right? So he is the middle linebacker on this play. If you're a PFF, you're doing player participation. That's where he would say he is. He's a middle linebacker on this play, and he splits him right up the middle. Of course, he doesn't get the sack, but these are the ways you could use him if you're creative, right?
Yeah.
And why I really like, Brian Branch is a good one too as well, but I really like the Jabril Peppers comp here because he can do things like that and get the quarterback a little off whack here. Of course, you want him to finish and make this tackle, but it's just the things you can do with Jahdae Barron, I feel are really special. So here he is again here. So of course you get a little motion here. So he ends up being the hook player here in zone here, right? And you're gonna get this little kind of skinny post here from this wide receiver inside, and you're gonna watch him just break on this football right there. And you can definitely see, like I said, he has great transitions here in zone. He's able to kind of get a big hit right there in the middle. Of course, it's a bad ball, but even if this was a good ball, he's getting a targeting call. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Definitely would have been targeting. And like I said, this is him being able to play all over the field, guys. I mean, that's what I really like about him.
Yeah.
All right. And then here he is at middle linebacker again. See him with pursuit here and get in on the play, get on the tackle. So, that's what Matt's talking about, willingness. I mean, that's why I feel like it's hard for me to label him as a corner because he's playing middle linebacker and dime, right?
He's your dime middle linebacker too. That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. And then, like I said, and then you could put him on the edge. Now he's at the edge here. I mean, and what I really like about this one is he understands edge responsibilities too. So you see how the tight ends move. The tight end goes out here in the flat.
Yeah.
And he understands what he needs to do. I mean, that's something that you'll see like Max Crosby do. A lot of these guys who play at the edge at certain times, and when these guys come out in the flat, and that's how they kind of break up a lot of these plays, a lot of these zone plays that you'll see. So just understanding responsibilities, that means he understands like the whole defense, which I think is a big thing and why you could do a lot of things with Barron. All right, sorry. Let's get into the coverage here. So I really like this one. I mean, this one is really shows his fluid hips, his athletic ability. You see it here on this one. He just runs the route with the guy. I mean,
oh yeah, remember this one?
This one is just special. Just runs the route. You can see how quick he gets out of his transition there. That click and close, get a pass breakup right there.
He ran that route better than the receiver did.
I know.
Sinks at the right time and drives and works back to the quarterback better. Great rep.
It's just a great rep right there, man. Knock that ball down. Pass breakup. Lock him up. All right, so this is another one I really like too, because you could see him anticipate this dig route here. If you just watch Barron right there at the bottom, you can see him anticipate it, right? He's expecting it. And this is what I really like. Because this guy, the quarterback here is throwing this with pretty good timing. He's already letting this ball out. It's good timing there on this route. But he was expecting this dig route, so he's able to break on it and then he make a play through the football here, late here. I really like this play. So you see it right there. Play through the hands. Because the timing with the quarterback, sometimes in the NFL, you can't stop timing, right?
Yeah.
this is perfectly timed by the quarterback from Michigan. I mean, of course, it's a bad throw, so he's able to come and recover here. But that just shows how he is in zone. They're in cover 3 here, how he can play outside in zone and understands it. Makes a nice play there, knocks that ball out.
To me too, that's like how natural that was, because the fact that like he saw the ball behind the receiver late and was so quick to get his hand involved to punch it out.
Yeah. All right. Here's another one kind of showing his transitions outside here. So I really like this one too, because he gets into side turn here. He's able to keep his eyes on the quarterback, and look how quick he breaks on this football. Because, like I said, this is not bad timing either here as well, right? I mean, it could have been out a little earlier, but you could just see how quick he breaks on this football and almost picks this one off. And even looks at Levin and tells him, "Yeah, you're close. That was close. That was close, Sam. That was close." All right. And then, just his zone eyes as well. So this is why I really like him in zone. You see it right here on this one, what you're getting from ASU, which I think is a good concept. You're getting a post route, and you're kind of getting basically sail concept here. And you see how he sees the sail. He keeps his eyes on the quarterback, understands he has help over the top. I mean, Sam could have, really got this safety if he didn't see it. But what he's expecting Barron to keep running with this post route here, right? But he sees it, he stops, he's able to come up and make a play.
Yeah.
I really like this one here. So it's a zone eyes here, understanding, seeing what the quarterback's looking at.
I feel like Levitt expected him to follow that too.
Yeah. But follow that.
Follow the post. Yeah.
So comes up and makes that play. All right, and then here's another one. Just like I said, breaking on another quick little under route here. Not that really the greatest route in my opinion. Should have got flatter there, but you still see his ability just to transition. He's anticipating what they're doing. You can see him just sitting on here. I mean, they're in quarters, right? So he's sitting on this route here and understands what Georgia likes to do on offense. He's able to break on the football and make a play. Great play there. All right, so here's another one here against Colorado State. This is an interception. This is just like the definition of zone eyes here. So you just watch it first and just track the hell up or make a pick.
Yeah,
on this play. So you're getting a little fake screen here, play action, and they're going a little kind of based like a Yankee concept on the post here, and he's able to just come off his zone, not just playing grass, right? Understand what's happening on defense and able to go high point that football and make a play, get a pick.
Kind of covers from Akuba there too, who got out of position.
Yeah. Akuba's really good too. I like Akuba.
Yeah.
Safety.
Same.
I had to watch the ASU game and the pick he made at the end. It pissed me off, but it was a great play. All right, and here's another interception against Georgia on this one. So, see it right here. I mean, of course, you can't do that in the NFL. I mean, that's illegal contact. But I like how he's just sitting on this route here, able to keep his eyes on the quarterback and make a play here on this ball. So he's good ball skills, man. 5 interceptions on the season. Maybe good kick. Tell you, Jabril Peppers, man.
Yeah, maybe.
He's all
Did he return kicks?
I don't know. Jabril Peppers did that for sure. Right?
Yeah. I know Peppers did. I just wasn't sure if Barron did or not.
And it was funny, like because I was looking at his stats, and this is the only play that I saw him get beat, so I wanted to show it. But he really didn't get beat here, right? I mean, this really is just a great concept by Texas A&M, and you still see the zone eyes here. He's able to kind of get back around and always makes a play on it. But this is the longest completion he gave up all year.
Yeah. And he just needed to make that switch a little sooner too.
Yeah.
And maybe getting a little more help from the safety would have been able to do that.
Yeah, the safety was Definitely.
Safety was covering grass.
Yeah, left about to dry there for sure, dude. For sure. All right, so yeah, that's Barron. Barron, like I said, it's hard for me to say that he's a cornerback. I just think that I mean, to me, it's like DB.
I can see that.
It's
funny too is like a lot of like, this might be a weird statement, but a lot of like his interceptions were like safety like interceptions where like he wasn't necessarily like that one you showed against Georgia. Like that was a terrible ball by Carson Beck where he throws a back shoulder and the receiver doesn't run the back shoulder out. But like that's how he made like a handful of his plays where he just made like he's just again was just being a football player and like made a good read. And sometimes better read than the offensive player or the wide receiver that he's going up against to be able to make a play on the ball. Like that's one thing that stood out on his tape is like he's just not a robot. Like he's a legit football player who can like read the ball, track the ball well in the air and make plays on it. And that's how he made a lot of his picks this last season. So it almost makes me wonder, I'm like, would he be almost a little bit better in that safety type of role? And I think that's probably part of the reason why, again, you getting him involved in those slot discussions and like what you're talking about with him kind of being like Jabril Peppers, that Brian Branch type of guy that he can just be, you just want him on the field in some sort of capacity so that he can be able to make plays on the ball.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. The Jabril Peppers, Brian Branch, kind of how Branch is used in the NFL. Like he played more safety this year, but he played slot year one. That's, kind of the future for him, and same thing, like I said, with Jabril Peppers, who kind of did the same thing under Patrick Graham. That's where you see, the potential really, him really hitting his potential in the NFL. Because I don't know if he could play outside, right? I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Like it's more because in the NFL he's going to have to play press at some point, and you just never saw it. And even in the goal line, they didn't play press, really. It was just something that's not on his film. So it's hard for you to say like, okay, he can play outside. So that's why I feel like he has to be like the safety nickelback slash type of thing. I mean, even if you see him as a safety, I think he'd play really well there. You know what I mean? So it's not something that is crazy. So yeah, I really, really do like his film overall.
Yeah. Throw another name out there that kind of popped in my head. CJ Gardner-Johnson, similar type of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Again, those hybrid safety, like slot corner type of dudes who I think can play really well in off coverage. Because you're right, I don't trust him in press. And I don't think they really used him in press at Texas very much, which it's just kind of a little bit of a signal. And then on top of him having sub 30-inch arms, that doesn't spell press corner that or an outside press corner that you're looking at. Like if you're looking at if the Raiders take Jahdae Barron, where that might be end up being is going to be a big question. Like if they take him, you want to think about him being like more your nickel and not necessarily your outside guy. And I think they'd still need to look for someone on the outside versus a Will Johnson, who again is kind of the opposite. Where I have more confidence in a guy like him to play outside and maybe be able to make the switch inside. Versus Barron's more the opposite. Like I have more confidence in Barron to be able to play on the inside. Maybe he can play on the outside. So interesting combo. But like I said, when we were breaking them both down, I love the fact that he's just a football player and like doesn't just cover grass, has good instincts and has a good football IQ. And I think we saw that from both these dudes today. They can go out and make plays, which I know Pete Carroll's gonna be excited about, and a big reason why these two are probably on his radar.
Yeah, man. Because if you think about it, if they do go corner, I mean, they could go corner from 6 and 37. I mean, I think they're going to draft a couple corners. I think that'd be crazy, but I mean, I think they're going to draft a couple. So we'll see how that goes. But that would be nuts too if they did that. But that'd be funny.
And I feel like that's going to become more common. Like I don't think the Raiders are on this spot, but like look what the Eagles did last year, right? They had questions in their secondary. They needed some dudes. So what they do? Their first two picks were cornerbacks, right? They got Quinyon Mitchell in the first, granted later in the first round, like 22nd pick, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then Cooper DeJean to go play the slot and play the nickel role in the second round. So, and I think, we talk about it all the time, NFL is a copycat league. I think now that you've seen that be successful at the highest level, we're going to see teams maybe try and replicate that formula, which again, the Raiders are in a spot having let Nate Hobbs out, having gotten rid of Jack Jones, where they need two starters in that spot, where they're in a similar position as the Eagles were heading into this draft. But I think that's very, very well a possibility that they get their slot corner and get their outside guy in the first two rounds. Not saying it will happen, but I think it's on the table.
No, perfect. All right, man. So that's the show for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, we had a whole litany of draft episodes. So I think about posting them all on Twitter probably pretty soon here. Kind of just give you a little thread list, right? Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of shows, guys. We did a lot of draft episodes for you guys, a lot of breakdowns, every player that you could think of that the Raiders might be looking at and who has buzz around him. So make sure you guys go check those all out. You got my 4-round mock draft I did with Glenn on Fridays. Check that out as well. And yeah, we're got about a week left, guys. We got like 3 episodes left.
I know, right?
For the draft, man. We got 3 episodes left. So yeah, it's crunch time, man. So, but I hope you guys enjoy this episode, and we'll be back on Wednesday. See you.
Peace.